want to come to this party, come on through.
When we found out that Relapse was interested, that I think to all of us was like, wow. We have friends there for a long time, but to me, to be on a piece of paper that says these are bands on Relapse, Neurosis, High on Fire, Unsane, Today is a Day, Mastodon, etc., and for us to be on that list is like amazing to me, because I think that's like the highest echelon of like current heavy music, you know, outside of the world of like underground punk and hardcore, you know, like the Relapse, and as far as like heavy music to me is like the best. So for us to be there was like very humbling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And definitely not in like a, you know, it wasn't like, oh, we signed a Relapse, we're gonna go to Australia with Dillinger Escape Plan. Those things come along and you're like, all right, shit, we'll go with it. But like for me, it's like, it's the honor of being a part of something.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, when we first got to Europe, that's something I always wanted to do. I mean, a lot of my friends' bands have been to Europe, and, you know, I have a slight complex about being a guy who's been doing bands for 10, 12 years, and now I'm getting to experience things that a lot of my friends might have experienced 10 years ago. And so, like, to tour Europe, and it was definitely a big thing for me that I always wanted to do. And we did it, and that was a great accomplishment, you know. And we did that before we were involved with Relapse. We did it completely on our own accord, you know. And now we've been back, and now we're going back again in a couple of months, and pretty soon it will seem completely blasé, and I'll just be like, back to Europe again.
Oh, well, darn.
Back to Australia, Mike.
Yeah, that's gonna suck. Jeez.
Back to Canada.
Yeah. Boring. I don't know. I mean,
I don't feel like there's any massive. Well, I don't know. This is a personal thing, I guess.
Just say it.
This is incredibly no, but there are a lot of reviews that came out of on the record, especially in Europe, of, you know, like, I don't know what kind of coke fiend, speed, Jack Daniels motherfuckers are on crazy this crazy music, and that to me was incredibly funny as a person who was like totally straight. Like,
We're not partiers. We're just, you know, kids with skateboards that grew up a little bit.
We just like to shred, you know. Like, so that's always funny to me. Like, I don't know what drugs these guys are on. And I'm like, well, not really many, but yeah. But as far as the band, I mean, I don't know. Like you and I said in that, like I talked to you in that interview, it's like this idea that, and a lot of bands do this, and that's okay, but this idea that like this is hardcore, and doing hardcore or punk is immature or is not as sophisticated, and so they move on to something else, and then it's suddenly sophisticated or can be accepted by different people, and I reject that idea. I feel like what we do is intelligent, and I feel like it's sophisticated, and I get a lot of, like, not a lot, but I get something like, oh yeah, you just play like power chords and, you know, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, yeah, because I want to. You know, it's not, if I wanted to tap, I would write songs with tapping, or if we wanted to, you know, we do whatever we want, and to us, like, I like music that is, or I want to play music that's mostly straightforward, really heavy-hitting, to the point, powerful, fast music. And like I said, I don't over-intellectualize it. I know that I'm an intelligent person. I know we're an intelligent band. We have things to say. We have a lot more content than a lot of bands.
Every simple song, you know, that's good was written by an intelligent person.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And so that is a misconception sometimes, that, and that's maybe not for us, but just in general, that like, if somebody wants to write a 4-chord song, that doesn't mean they're an idiot, or it doesn't mean that they're less of a musician. It just means that that's how they're choosing to express themselves. And with us, like,
unless if they're 14 or 13.
Well, if they're 12 years old, then they are stupid. They have no capability to get better.
No, that's all they can play.
Yes,
they don't
that's
choose
true.
it. That's all they can do. That's all I could do for a while.
That's all. It's still all I can do. I'm just trying to bullshit my way
There
out.
you go.
But yeah, I mean, I don't. A skull is still cool. It's sold at Hot Topic and at Target, and that makes it maybe a little cheesier. But you know, someone once told me, like, skulls are dead, skulls are over, and I was like, well, you know what? That's okay. I'm not saying we'll have a skull on every record we ever fucking do, but I still look at a COC record or a Misfits record or any Pusshead drawing,
yeah.
and I'm like, this is cool. You know, it's fun and it reaches you on a base level. And I've gone on way too long with this answer. So
Skull imagery has been in human culture since
Yeah,
the dawn
yeah.
of mankind. You know.
well, it's hard because because when people put that upon us, then I want to retort with saying, oh, well, I listened to this. You know, like, I listen to lots of Canadian indie rock, like the Constantines, Hayden, New Pornographers. It's like 80% of what I listen to. That's
80% of what goes on in the van, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to retort with that to like prove that you are not one-sided as a person or as a musician. But I try to resist that as much as I can because it's like I do what I do and I know what I'm doing and we know the basis. And it's not because all we've ever listened to is a Misfits record or a Discharge record, you know. But that's something that I don't like. I wouldn't want Coliseum in 5 years to like play post rock and you know and have completely different imagery and like take some kind of departure because we suddenly feel like we're too mature for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what we're doing is perfectly mature, you know.
Sure, I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Cool.